Hello and welcome to another manga spotlight. This is Dead Accounts, a series that debuted on January 18th of this year. At the time of this recording, there's only 4 chapters that have been released, or at least that have been translated. And this series is by Watanabe Shizumu, who has done Kigurumi, which is a series that I'm going to do a spotlight for at some point, and Real Account, which is probably the series that most people are aware of. And the best way I can describe Dead Accounts is that it is Jujutsu Kaisen with smartphones, and instead of curses, you're fighting Twitter users. So let's read the brief little premise that we have here. It's Souji Enishiro, 15 years old, high school dropout, is a controversial streamer, Aoringo, who makes a ton of money through his violent and outrageous video content. Although he is seen as a troublemaker, in reality, he is a kind older brother who loves his younger sister and sweets. Even his controversial videos are just a means to cover the huge medical expenses for his sickly younger sister. No matter if everyone in the world hates him, he is happy as long as his sister is doing well. That is, until something happens to his beloved sister. This is the start of a new action series of modern-style exorcisms. So let's just go over the first chapter real quick, and then we'll kind of discuss where it goes from there. So our main character, his name is Enishiro. I'm just going to call him Shiro for the sake of convenience. And Shiro is a YouTuber who goes around, picks fights with muscular dudes, and then films them. He streams himself just going around fighting a bunch of people. And his views always get a bunch of dislikes and stuff, but in the YouTube world, it doesn't matter if you get dislikes as long as if your view count goes up. That's all that matters. Shiro is he's a 15-year-old high school dropout, and the reason why he's doing all this stuff, the reason why he's getting into a bunch of fights and streaming it and things like that, and just basically pissing people off, is because he's trying to get money for his sister Akari. Akari is 12 years old. She has some kind of illness. She's hospital bound, and she's the only thing that he has left in his life. His parents are dead. It's just him and her, and she needs this operation to save her. And the operation has to be done in the U.S. So he's basically doing all these terrible streams so that he can make money so he can take her there. One day he's at home and he's eating pudding and he's texting his sister when all of a sudden this weird dude breaks into his house with a giant hammer and tries to attack him. And this character is going to become an important character in this series. His name is Katsubata. He is a very annoying character, I would say. He has this running gag where every time he constantly curses, and every time he curses, he says, my apologies, I use foul language. So he'll curse, and then he'll apologize. Curse, apologize. I guess it's supposed to be funny. I just find it kind of annoying. But maybe that's just because I don't like his character overall. We'll get more into his character a little bit later. Yeah, he's attacking Shiro, and Shiro's like trying to dodge. And it turns out that he's not necessarily going after Shiro. He's going after Shiro's phone. And so Shiro grabs his phone. He rushes out. He runs into a nearby park. And he's wondering why this guy is trying to destroy his phone so badly. And Katsubata seems to know who Shiro is. He says that you're that disgusting YouTuber who goes around filming yourself fighting people. Shiro mistakes Katsubata for a relative of someone that he's beating up, and he apologizes. He says, if you want to beat me up, fine, but stop attacking my phone. This is the only thing that I have to be able to communicate with my sister. And Katsubata just continues to attack Shiro's phone and basically says, I have to destroy that phone. Your sister is dead. She died a month ago. There's like a quick flashback where Shiro sees his sister having some kind of episode. The doctors are trying to do everything they can, and then she's pronounced dead. And Shiro had a mental breakdown. He wasn't able to go to her funeral because he just couldn't accept her death. He even has her ashes and a little photo of her, and he refuses. And he keeps texting his sister, like, I won't acknowledge this. Please reply, please reply, please reply. And then eventually she replied. And he's like, it's impossible that she's dead. She's talking to me. She's talking to me right now. And he even gets a video call from her. And Katsubata is able to knock the phone out of Shiro's hands. He goes to smash it with the hammer when all of a sudden his sister, Akari, pops out of the phone. And she comes out like all digitalized and stuff like that. and she starts bleeding from her eyes, and then she kind of turns into this grotesque monstrosity. And that's when Katsubata explains the basic gist of what this series is about. We all know spirits, we all know about ghosts. He explains that, since ancient times, ghosts have appeared in places where strong unresolved feelings are left behind. And in this modern day era, the trend has continued from smartphones. These ghosts are formed from dead social media accounts. They're also known as dead accounts. So basically, they're accounts from people who have died. So in this case, Akari. Akari has died. She has a social media account. Her soul, or the ghost is created not necessarily from Akari, but from her account. So yeah, it's just this weird thing where that's how ghosts are formed in this world. They're formed from social media accounts, from dead people or people who have died. Basically, Katsubata explains that we have to exorcise this account. We have to exorcise your sister. And we do that with smartphones. The only thing that can stop digitally transformed ghosts is digitally transformed objects. So crosses, prayer beads, all that kind of stuff. Those will take out physical ghosts, but they won't, or old school ghosts, but they won't take out digitally transformed ghosts. For those, you got to use digitally transformed weapons. And so Katsubata pulls out a giant hammer from his smartphone, and that's his weapon. And he goes to attack the ghosts, and he's able to beat up on this thing. And right when he's about to deliver the final blow, Shiro stops him because he's like, she's in a lot of pain. Stop doing that. I beg of you. Like, I don't care if she's a ghost. I just, I've been reunited with her after so long. Please don't exorcise her. And Katsubata's like, people die. People die all the time. And once they die, they shouldn't come back. Everyone has had someone that's left them behind. Everyone has suffered a death in the family or a loved one or a friend or whatever. You just got to come to terms with it. Your sister is dead. We have to exorcise her. Just move on already. And Shiro gets grabbed by his sister. She starts like chewing on him. And as she's eating him, he starts having like flashbacks of him with his sister and how upset he is because she's done all this for him. And the reason why she's not able to leave this world is not because of any unresolved issues that she has. It's because of him. He's the one that's preventing her from leaving because he can't continue without her. So he's kind of dragging her and preventing her from going on to the afterlife. And as he's falling from her mouth, his hand lands on his smartphone and actually goes in. And when he pulls it out, he has these purple flames. And he uses this to fight his sister, and he defeats her and exorcises her. And as she's disappearing, he sees her, like she transforms into her normal appearance and kind of says goodbye, and he's upset. That's when a bunch of other exorcists show up, and then they invite him to go to an academy where he will train to use his powers. And this is where the whole Jujutsu Kaisen comes in, because from here on out, it's basically Jujutsu Kaisen. He goes to a school specifically used to train people in how to exorcise digital ghosts. He gets put into a 3-man team with him, Katsubata, and this other girl. So you got the 2 guys and the girl. His sensei, or the teacher of this school, Azaki, is really weird and goofy and eccentric, kind of like Gojo in Jujutsu Kaisen. In fact, we even have a moment where when he's out on a mission, he's like in disguise, and he has the pretty boy blonde hair kind of look. He looks exactly like Goju when Goju has his little face bandana pulled down. So it's just straight up Jujutsu Kaisen. Only instead of curses, it's Twitter users, or dead Twitter users, dead Facebook users, dead YouTube users. We even have a thing where everyone is kind of, not everyone, but most of the higher ups and a lot of the older students, and even some of the younger students, are all wary of our main character Shiro because he uses purple flames. And purple flames belong to, are the same powers that this digital ghost named Losum K uses. And Losum K has killed a bunch of exorcists. He's also the one behind the killing of Shiro's sister. So because he shares the same power as this sorcerer killer. Everyone believes that he is either Lonesome K in human form, he's working for Lonesome K, or he's going to end up like Lonesome K. So, of course, he's being kind of ostracized, which again kind of goes to the whole Yuji aspect, where people are kind of wary of Yuji because he ate one of Sukuno's fingers, and Sukuno kind of, is in him as using him as his vessel and stuff. So, you get that. So, I guess we'll break down the characters. Shiro is an okay character. He's a bit naive when it comes to the sorcerer aspects and all the ghost stuff. And he's basically the replacement for the audience. So as other characters are teaching Shiro about the world and the ghost and how to fight them and all this stuff, we, the audience, are kind of learning. So he's kind of like our surrogate in that regard. But he's not like completely stupid. He has a decent personality. Like his actions make sense. And he's an okay protagonist. There's nothing necessarily wrong with him as a character. The problem comes from the other characters involved. Katsubata is just annoying. Not only do I not find his running gag of cursing and then immediately apologizing for it, but he has like a hate boner for Shiro. Like he absolutely despises Shiro. He's hoping Shiro will fail. I guess there's one point where technically he does kind of help Shiro out, but even then, as soon as he finishes helping, he helps Shiro out by insulting him. And after he helps Shiro out, he still kind of treats him like crap. And I wonder if this is like, I don't know, the writer saw that like, oh, in these other like popular shonen series that have a 3-man group, 2 guys, 1 girl, the guys always have to be butting heads and stuff like that. So I'm gonna use that. Except it's really one-sided because Shiro doesn't really retaliate against Katsubata. He kind of just takes it. And Katsubata is just unnecessarily evil to Shiro. And there's just like, there's no like sad story. I'm sure there's probably going to be one at some point. But he just comes across as mean without any reason to be. And so there's no like good qualities in him that we've seen. And you never want to introduce your character in a negative light. I've said this before in other videos, but even a character who has negative traits, you always want to show a positive trait before you show their negative traits. So the example I always use is the example that my teacher taught me. It was a Tom Cruise movie. I want to say it was Minority Report. I can't remember though, but it's one where it's like a sci-fi one, and he's a drug addict, and so him being addicted to drugs is obviously the negative trait. But we don't introduce Tom Cruise being addicted to drugs right from the get-go. Instead, we show him showing up to work, and he's greeting everybody, saying hello. People are smiling back at him. He's very approachable. He's a good worker. Everyone at work likes him. And then we show him that he's a drug addict. Usually that's what you want to do. You want to show your character in a good light first, and then you start introducing their negative qualities. And the reason for that is because first impressions are a thing. If you introduce a character negatively right from the get-go, and you take too long to start showing positive aspects, the audience is just going to just completely dump on them. And you can have like, oh, all their negative qualities, there's a reason for it. Here's all their reasons. And they could be really good reasons, but at that point, it's already too late. So you always kind of want to, show your character in a good light first. Katsubata is not shown in a good light. And not once is he ever shown in a good light. He just comes across as super negative, super hateful and spiteful for no absolute reason. And then we have their female teammate who's introduced in the 4th chapter, the latest chapter. And she is also a negative character as well. So we find out that everyone's powers has to do with their like personality. I don't know what a giant hammer has to do with Katsubata, or what purple flames have to do with Shiro. I guess maybe he has a fiery temper or something. I don't know. We're not really even shown that when it comes to Shiro. Whatever your personality is, that will affect how your abilities are when it comes to fighting ghosts. So this female teammate, she is obsessed with a member of this boy band to the point where she constantly like stalks every little thing he does, every outing he goes to. She stalks him. She saves every single photo that he uploads onto social media, and she enhances it so she can see if there's any she can see the reflection in his eye to see if there's any like girls that he's watching, just to see if like maybe he's in a secret relationship. She creates a bunch of accounts because she's constantly getting banned for being too stalkerish. So she's a clingy type. She clings to this guy. So her powers is slime, and she like creates like a gun out of slime. She can create explosions using slime. She basically uses slimes to create weapons for herself. So that's some of her negative qualities. But also, she's just mean to everybody. She's not nice to anyone. She doesn't want to become a medium. She doesn't want to be an exorcist. We don't know why she's doing this. I guess it will be explained at some point. But it basically feels like the writer, it feels like Watanabe saw Jujutsu Kaisen, saw that Nobara came across as a little bit rude when she's first introduced to her teammates, and thought, oh, that's why people like her. Okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to take it to the extreme. And the thing is, like, yeah, Nobara kind of comes across a little bit standoffish at first. Like, she's a little bit brash, but she's not a terrible character. Like, she doesn't mistreat her teammates. She goes out of her way to help them when they need it. And it's like, we're not seeing any of that with these characters. The female character in Dead Accounts, Katsubata, they just come across as rude. There's no redeeming qualities in them whatsoever. And I'm like, all right, I can give the female character a little bit of a break because we were just introduced to her in this chapter. So maybe it will get better. But at this point in time, it's just like, you have one likable character in the protagonist, and then you have two very, very unlikable characters who are just constantly not only mean to him, but they're like mean to each other as well. But there's no like synergy here. Like, everyone just hates on everyone else except for our main character. It's just very kind of off-putting to try to read this in that regard. It's like, why couldn't he team up with any of the other students who seemed more likable and more interesting, at least to me? Like, you have one character who's like obsessed with selfies, and I'm like, okay, maybe that has to do with his power in some way. There's this other character who's basically like a living doll, which once again kind of reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen with Panda. But yeah, you have another character who's basically Kobene. Like, they are completely terrified of everything. And it's like, okay, then why are you in this job where you're going to have to be exercising digital ghosts if everything freaks you out? So it's like, they have like nice, funny, interesting quirks. And it's like, I'm more interested in those characters. But unfortunately, those characters are background characters. Instead, we're going to focus on Shiro, who is okay. And then we're going to focus on two characters who are just absolutely annoying as hell. So it's like, all right, that kind of blows. And then again, like I said, you have Azaki, the teacher, who is basically just Gojo. Pretty much. I mean, he's pretty much exactly a Gojo. Super overpowered, doesn't take anything seriously. He has very lackadaisical kind of personality. Nothing really phases him. He's always constantly goofing off, doesn't seem to be taking anything seriously. But then when he does take something seriously, he switches to serious mode. It's very much just Goju or Kakashi or anything like that. And it might seem like I'm like ragging on this series, but I do really enjoy it. Like, the artwork is fantastic. I don't think I'll be showing too many interiors just because I don't want to really risk it. I'll show just a couple here and there. But as you can see, like, the artwork is great. The fighting scenes are awesome. Like, I love it. The whole theme of using technology and social media and combining it with the supernatural and ghosts and stuff like that, to me, is like kind of cool. Like, I've always been kind of interested in that. Like, I'm one of those, like, I love supernatural stuff. I love like cyberpunk stuff. And whenever you combine stuff like that, I always kind of enjoy it. Even though this isn't cyberpunk, it's just basically modern day setting, but it uses social media and stuff. It's just, I like the blend, the mix of supernatural with technology. There's just something cool about that to me. So I like that premise. It's just the two side characters, the two main side characters are just absolutely annoying. And I'm hoping that things will improve and get better, and that eventually the more times we're with these characters, that they'll start changing their personalities. Like, they won't just be complete a-holes, because that's all they are right now. But yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of rambling. I'll say go check it out, especially if you like Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, if you are a huge fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, this is basically Jujutsu Kaisen, only instead of curses is ghosts from social media. But there you go. There's Dead Account. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that bell for a notification. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you did enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlists that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.